Hey y'all, we're back. Brooke and the Bell, Brooke Thomas, Sean Bell. We're talking about Insecure, season 4, episode 7. Did I do that? I got that right. Can we talk about your t-shirt there? I like it.
You do? Let me stand up a little bit.
I like it. It's perfect. Best line in the movie for me. And was that an ad-lib line?
I don't know if it was, but
yeah,
it was classic. And being what happened to Molly this episode, I figure I, wear some more militant wear.
Do you know how you always say, and you were right, that like Issa gets like benefit of the doubt just because we already love and know, well, at least, know as much as you can know a total stranger that you see on TV, but like Issa Rae in real life. So to the character, same thing happened with Black Panther. The villain deserves it all.
Yeah. I mean, I was,
anytime
you heard him, you were like, he's making a lot of sense.
I was like, yeah, oh my God, do I want a Hotep man? Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm rooting for anymore.
Whoa.
Of course.
Okay, let's get into this episode because this is the very first time that we've had a like Molly only show, a Molly only episode. It was really great.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be honest with you. I was like, I don't know how much I want to actually see Molly and see her relationship and them having a vacation.
Right.
But then midway through, I go, oh, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. They did this right.
What's your, like, just off the top, like, one sentence thoughts?
I don't speak in one sentence.
Before we get into it, just give me, like, one takeaway from the episode.
This episode perfectly captured Molly's problems and who she is.
I can do my biggest takeaway in 3 words. Andrew is perfect.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Maybe that's just the glass half empty type of individual I am, but I'm like, there has to be something about this individual that is bad, or there has to be some type of
everything right. He is doing everything right.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's start at the top. Kim Field. Okay, so start at the top. This is Molly's episode. They are. Did it start with them packing? It started with them packing, right? Yes, it started with them packing, discussing this upcoming vacation. She's going to run to work for a little bit, and then they're going to meet at the airport. Let's talk about work, too, because she was a jerk to her assistant.
Yes. And again, I'll save my overall point for towards the end.
Okay.
But again, they kept hammering something throughout the episode. And yes, she was a jerk.
What were they hammering?
The fact that Molly is a person who is usually right on principle, wrong on reaction. And that's how she's been her entire, life, or at least entire seasons and entire show. Okay. Yeah. Like she's, even with Issa, Lawrence, whoever she deals with, a lot of times she's right on principle, wrong in how she reacts. And because she reacts so overwhelmingly wrong, we immediately hate her, even though she might have been right in the beginning, right? You have the assistant.
She doesn't come in with the extra points.
Yes, she goes 0 to 100. She doesn't know how to go to 0 to 50, right? Like, yes, the assistant was wrong because, this is
a big deal.
This is a big deal. This can get me written up. This can get me in trouble, potentially fired, whatever. Like, you can't make mistakes like that. But if you're going to have a relationship with this person, you need to learn how to say it in a different way while being stern, while still keeping a relationship positive.
Completely agree. Like, you can, in our business specifically, I feel like people get that wrong. What's crazy? When I was first coming up, they always say, one, that the biggest egos are in the smallest markets. Which I think is like partially true. You do deal with a lot of crappy, like, people who are just awful and in really small markets because they're always going to be there, and they have like jealousy issues with people who are moving on, right? They're like hazers, right?
Yeah.
And then once you
I
get
disagree with that premise, but I understand why they say it.
okay, and so because I think there's big egos everywhere, but I do think like I like the idea of that. What I'm trying to say is that the kindest people that I've come across in this business have not only been the ones who are the most successful, like once they're like set and they're not tripping about anybody else, they're kind and awesome. Like my biggest mentors have been, you know, the women who, I mean, get solid contracts, and they've also been the biggest help for me too. And I think that kindness, we're getting like completely off topic. So, but I'm just like agreeing with what you said, because like people think that kindness doesn't work, and like toxicity in the workplace is the best way to go, but it really is being kind.
Yes. I mean, again,
it's really like how you get the best work. That's how you make the best relationships. Yeah.
And as we talk more, I don't think it's necessarily a ego thing for Molly. I think, as you will talk about later in her episode and who she calls at the end, I think it's more of something inside. I don't think it's an ego of I think I'm way better than you, but it's a underlying anger that's coming from somewhere that she just has in her entire life that comes out when she gets upset.
She's a jerk really often. Issa's also a jerk in a kinder and often funnier package, which is more like palatable, but the impact is the same from both of them.
Yes, you come off like a jackass. But again, after this episode, I learned to me a lot about Molly, and I think she's not a jerk at heart. She has some underlying issues.
Right, like her intent is different.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So they go to Mexico. She's taking a couples trip with Andrew meeting his brother and his brother's wife. And Molly and Andrew had a little fun on the plane. I respect it. Then Molly thinks she's a bigger freak than she is. That when her and Andrew were bringing like their toys, they were basically on total different pages.
You got Andrew acting up.
Right. Okay. He was not playing. He was like, "Oh, I think maybe I misunderstood." But that was funny. But they get there. Molly wants to relax. Andrew's like, "No, my brother. He plans things. We just kind of have to go with it." They end up relaxing the first night. The next day, they go on this really big hike. From the preview, I thought that Molly was going to be like stank, and she wasn't. It was like how any normal person would react to getting up early in the morning and a surprise 3-mile hike up a hill. And she was fine. I think they all had a good experience.
Yeah, Molly will try. She'll try.
Yeah, she'll try. I think she was trying hard.
I'll say this though, before we go on. I don't want a vacation to be the first time I'm meeting your family. Like,
oh, I don't mind that.
Like, to me, no. If it's a vacation, hey, I'm going to Atlanta or I'm going to wherever to meet some of your family members. Cool. But when I'm on vacation, I don't want to have to, especially out the country, and I'm trying to relax. I don't want to have to be in a position where I have to sort of present myself in a different light. I have to be nice. I have to be on my ones and twos and my cues at all time. No, I want to go there completely relaxed, do what I want to do, and act a fool.
Yeah.
So I don't want a vacation. That's not relaxing to me.
Yeah. For when I go on vacation, I want to go on vacation. I want to sleep in really, really late, drink in the hotel room, lay out on the beach, go in the water a little bit, have some drinks. I want to do nothing.
Yeah, but meeting your family members isn't relaxing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have looked at this like a typical vacation, because like if I go on a trip with certain like homegirls that I have, some of them don't like to relax on vacation like I do. They want to sightsee. They want to get up early and not waste the day. So I would just already know what I was like. I would know going in. And if I'm going to meet your family, I would know that this is not going to be my type of vacation.
But that's exactly why. Don't let it be I meet them somewhere else. for the first time. Because I can't say no to you and all your things.
Yeah,
like you're with your girls. You're with your girls. You can be like, all right, chill. I'm going by the pool or whatever. She can't say no to anything. Like she can't enjoy herself and relax. She has to say, I have to say yes to almost everything you do because this is the first encounter. Huh?
She was enjoying herself until the very end.
I mean, she was enjoying. It was a forced enjoyment. Like I gotta just go along with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't her type of vacation.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. So okay. Let's just get right to it. So they're having a good time. Everybody's having a good time. And I want to preface this whole conversation with Molly was right. But, well, except for 2 points. There were 2 points where she was completely in the wrong. But overall, in the big blow up, Molly was right. And it was definitely like a weird microaggression happening with the lady who was distributing the towels was policing certain people. And so the Black woman comes up and it's all of a sudden, no, we have to follow the rules, when she saw the people in front of her weren't following the rules. This has happened to every single one of us. This happens all the time. And it's even more frustrating when you don't have someone around you to have your back or somebody around you to just hear you out and to understand. It's when things like this happen and you aren't like believed, that it compounds it. It makes it even worse. And so Molly goes to get a towel. Mind you, she's getting a towel to help Andrew's sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Got water in her eye, and so Molly's being helpful, like, I'll hop out, I'll go get you a towel. She goes to get her a towel, and the lady holding the towels won't give her a towel unless she shows a room card, her key. She doesn't have it on her, she's at the pool. And she also points out that you didn't make them show you a key. The lady's like acting like, I don't know. I don't know. So then Andrew's brother comes up and he's like, what's going on? Molly quickly explains. He's like, cool, problem solved. Here's my room key. And the lady, he's basically like inferring to the lady, she's with me. Here's my key, problem solved. The lady, because what she did before wasn't nasty enough, she wants to make a point of going this way and giving the towel to the brother. It was, the whole thing was rude and awful, and everybody has experienced that. So she was upset, and what would have the best thing for everybody to do, because I hate when we often have to like temper how we respond to racism happening around us. You have to do it every day at work. Now she's on vacation and she has to do it. And that's frustrating because her brother is playing devil's advocate, which the devil does not need an advocate. Stop being that person. It's a weird person. Nobody likes it. Stop. Because also you're not being the devil's advocate. What you're doing is just passive aggressively saying how you feel.
Saying you're the devil's advocate, saying I'm playing devil's advocate is an excuse to be a jackass.
Right. And
no, man up and say, I don't agree with you. Don't say, well, I'm going to play devil's advocate. No, that's how you feel. You're not just trying to look at both sides.
Right. And then also don't say, I don't agree with you, because who are you to tell, like, no, you weren't there. She's telling you something that you know happens. Listen to her. It doesn't hurt anybody to just hear her out and be there for her.
And being Black, we've all been here. We've all been, I've had international vacations where you better have your key card because they're looking. Okay, yeah. They're selective with how they enforce their rules. Other people walk by, other people walk in the hotel, and it's fine. They don't check. You walk in, you walk by, they make sure, oh, what's your room number? Well, what? Oh, you have your key card, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we've all dealt with it. And like you said, it's frustrating not having someone there who sort of understands your plight. And I thought a lot of this was a picture of interracial relationships. Oftentimes when you have people of different cultures, of different races, it's a situation where they can't understand a lot of time, at least their family members can't understand your plight and the things that you deal with, and vice versa.
Yeah, but you know what? His brother is just kind of a jerk. Like, he didn't want to hear it because yes, Andrew and Molly are not the same race, but they both deal with different and similar forms of oppression in America. And Andrew quickly understood. And not only that, but when it's not even about your perspective, because we all are going to have to every day learn from each other, right? What it was the awful thing was how quickly he was willing to shut a painful experience down from her. And that was the problem. I don't have a problem if he had never experienced that or if he didn't understand it. The issue was that he didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. But at the same time, Andrew is dating a Black woman. And not that anyone who dates a Black woman would understand, but
right.
He would be more likely to say, okay. But a lot of times when you're dating interracial, especially being Black, you're probably the only Black person in that entire family. So they really don't know your struggle. So like in those families, one person may understand you or person may be open, but you're going to have a gang of people in that family who aren't open, who don't understand and they don't care to understand. And like you said, he was not really trying to take her word for it. Like you weren't there. So why are you trying to tell her, nah, that's not what happens. I deal with discrimination too, and this is how I handle it. Well, you don't deal with it like a Black woman deals with it. You don't get what a Black woman gets.
And it's so true. You know what? Because I did say that there were 2 moments that were cringy for me where Molly was in the wrong. I think that oftentimes, like, people forget this. No, Black people, Asian people cannot be racist, because the definition of racist, the cheap definition would be like prejudice plus power. In this country, only white people have that power dynamic to in order to be racist when it comes to the actual definition of racism. But because we all live here and we all experience the same culture, the same world, the same society, that's the word I should use, the same society, we can all potentially perpetuate white supremacy. And in that moment, both Molly and Andrew's brother showed examples of that. Andrew's brother in completely shutting down what this Black woman said, and Molly in telling a group of Asian people to speak English and also telling them that they pick and choose when they want to be people of color. Those were 2 awful things to say that she should never have said. No, that was awful.
Let me say this.
Say it. Well, I drink.
I didn't have a problem with her saying to speak English. And here's why. Normally that sounds nuts. But at the same time, as someone who, you know, is obviously knows a lot of different people and a lot of different, you are in front of me. You are talking trash about me. Don't switch up so I can't understand what you're saying all of a sudden.
But that's like, not what happened.
Directly towards me, like there have been situations.
That's not what happened though, Sean. That's not what happened.
That's what it seemed like.
No, that's not what happened at all. The first person to speak another language was Andrew, defending his girlfriend and telling his brother to stop.
Yeah, but I would say to them, both of them, listen, you are talking about me. Don't talk about me in a way that I can't understand.
No, you can
be saying wild things about me. It'd be one thing if it was just like y'all were having a conversation that was separate or whatever, and fine. That's you talk how you want to, the language you want to talk. But if you were talking trash or talking about me in a tense situation, I want to be able to understand and defend myself.
Yeah, I don't think that we can tell other people how to experience their own culture, regardless of if it's in front of us or not. I think that is perpetuating white supremacy, this idea that because I know English and that's what I understand, that when you talk about me, you got to speak my language. It's gross. It's crap. And
not if you're talking trash about me.
Huh?
I don't know if you're talking crap about her. If it's about me.
He wasn't talking crap about her. He was telling his brother
but
to
she doesn't know that.
Right, but that's my point. That wasn't her place. He was using an aspect of his culture that was comfortable to him to try and shut his brother down. And she looked at them and she minimized an important way of communicating in their culture because she wanted to have it her way. And there are lots of different experiences. Like, people also say, don't name your daughter Shaquita if you want her to get a good job.
I don't think that's
listen, you may find really good reasons why that's okay, but it is still the definition. It is still perpetuating white supremacy.
I don't find it.
I shut them down speaking a language that's not hers.
As somebody who's Jamaican, I would not speak patois in front of front of you or other people during an argument about you. To me, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, but you also wouldn't.
To me, that's oh no. Regardless of what I'm saying, like you need to understand what I'm saying, because I've also had times where we said disrespectful things about somebody in front of their faces. That's disrespectful. But because I'm using another language, I'm hiding behind that.
Yeah, but I think you're missing it's not intentional. Like using, so like, especially when you know two languages, you're most comfortable, certain things like calm down, be quiet, stop, things like that. That is not universal. To Black people, it is. Mm-hmm. But if I say to some white person's baby or something, I wouldn't. That's so weird. That's a weird example. But like, it's just, the way he tried to be like, hey, stop, it was quickly comfortable for him to use that language. And he quickly did it. His brother responded. It wasn't intentional. He wasn't trying to leave. He wasn't making a decision to leave Molly out of the conversation. He was using a phrase that's most comfortable to him in that language, because there weren't other moments where they're like, it wasn't intentional. That's what I'm saying. It was that just like, yeah, we code switch at work and things like that. But there are times where I forget and I can't like turn off the way I am, who I am, especially when I'm around my family. And it wasn't intentional, especially her boyfriend. It was not intentional. And I think just as much as she could say, I want to understand you in a heated discussion, he could say, I want you to give me the benefit of the doubt, because I've done nothing but things that make me like, I deserve that.
I get what you're saying. I didn't know. I get what you're saying. I don't think that point. I don't want. Once her brother responded and he's just disrespecting me or said something rude to me,
right?
I want to understand it. So no, you speak so I can hear, so I can understand, and I will do the same for you. I know Spanish. I'm not going to talk to the next person and say yada yada in between an argument after I just disrespected you. Like, no, we're going to be clear to each other right here and right now.
I mean, it wasn't intentional at all.
No, I know it wasn't intentional.
It was a quick phrase, and he was using an aspect of his culture that comes easy to him, and that was it. No,
I completely understand that, but I understand her point of view in saying, after you disrespected me, I want to understand what you're saying, so we're all on the same page, right?
And I think that maybe she should have pulled Andrew aside in the hotel and been like, what were you saying to him? I want to hear that. No. But telling a group of Asian people to speak English was gross to me. It will always be gross to me. No matter what your reasoning is, like, I think that
I don't see, to me, you're making it equal to someone being in the store and hearing Chinese or Japanese and saying, hey, you're in America, speak Chinese. To me, that is a far cry from what this situation is.
No, the impact is the exact same. The intent is different, but the impact is exact same. And what they teach us all the time is that intent does not negate impact. Her intent in that moment wasn't malicious. She wanted to understand because she felt cornered, right? In the grocery store, when crazy Nazis do that, their intent is to be malicious and nasty. But the impact, when an Asian person hears that, is the same.
I don't think I think the impact is completely different on that.
For me, like when a white person is accidentally racist or intentionally racist, the impact for me is the same. It hurts the exact same way.
Intent, again, the impact is different. I don't think it was racist, period.
No, I don't think it was
in that circumstance.
She's Black, but I think it was.
Well, I don't think it was discriminatory because, like I said, I think it was potentially them trying to be disrespectful.
I think for me, the rule is don't tell Asian people when not to speak a language that they want to speak. And I don't think the rule can change depending on when another person outside of that culture feels like it's best for them. That's the rule, I think. We disagree. Okay. That's fine. I have a lot of rules that I think, I don't care how you feel, what you want, I don't care what song you're rapping, skip over that word. And there are people.
I don't think that's the same thing. Like, I think you sort of paint the picture that I'm thinking it's the same thing.
Their intent is just rapping.
It's not, it has nothing to do with intent. You could say your intent was to disrespect me. Was that their intent? Was that his intent?
The brother?
Yes.
I don't know about disrespect, but to dismiss, yes. I think he wanted to make a point of dismissing her. He thought it was ridiculous. And he wanted to make that known.
Yeah,
like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you just dismissed me, and then now you're gonna dismiss me and be disrespectful to me in a different language too. Like, how much am I supposed?
Okay, we're not gonna agree. It's okay. We're not gonna agree.
Okay.
Also, what else happened? And she said that they pick and choose when to be people of color, and that was, I don't know. It was weird. That was gross. Like, they don't pick and choose when to be Asian.
Yeah.
I am different at work, especially working in the news, and I'm like, I think we all are like longing for the type of management, the type of environment that lets you be you. But I'm not less Black.
No, you're right.
Act a certain way.
Listen, to be clear, even though I disagree with the other aspect, I think she was dead wrong in how she was responding, and she was clearly I don't know what the right word, I don't know if it's discriminatory or whatever, but she was clear, but you know what I'm saying, she was clearly being that and sort of dismissing, what they go through and who they are.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, you go, as a Black person or and especially a Black woman, it's just like, yeah, certain times, you may not you're dismissing what's going on with me when it comes to racism, and you've experienced discrimination, but you can't all the way understand because certain times white people accept you. And they'll never accept us. So sometimes certain people, whether they're light skinned, whether they're mixed or whatever, can go into these lanes and switch up and be accepted, etc. As opposed to we can never. So I thought she was wrong in what she was saying. I understood why she said it and saying, well, hey, white people sometimes accept y'all, but never accept us. But it was still unfair to say.
Yeah, it was gross to say. And you were saying, I mean, listen, there is my friend Matha, she said something the other day, we had this conversation, and she was talking about, oh my goodness, my friend Matha, she's Middle Eastern, and I am going to get it wrong, so I'm not going to say specifically, but she talks about a system of brown anti-Blackness, and that how that exists in America because this country as a whole, while there's racism rampant, everybody can get some. There is also, this country was built on anti-Blackness. The greatness of our country was built on the backs of African slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And that when we talk about racism, we don't as much talk about brown anti-Blackness. And so people who can't be racist, but can still be anti-Black.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get what you're saying. It's just, you can't get mad and be that person just because it's done to you.
It's par on course.
We have to all strive to be people who never spew those things out of our mouths, period.
I think it's par on course for who Molly is which why she has so many issues is.
Right. But like, Andrew did not deserve those shots. He did not.
You're right, but you disrespect me, you put me in a corner, or you say something, I'm going to go 100 on you. Like, that's part of her problem, and part of her and not understanding when and how to address certain situations. So for her whole thing, whether it was with the assistant, whether it was Issa, I feel wronged.
Right.
And I was rightfully wrong.
Right.
I'm gonna wrong you.
But then she wronged everybody in the group.
Huh?
She wronged everybody in the group, and really everybody who looks like them.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I'm saying I don't get it. She's wrong, but
I know you're explaining it, and you're making it.
That's who she is. I'm going and to be the only Black person in the circle, no matter who's defending her or not defending her. It's lash out, and that's her issue. That's why at the end of the episode she has to make that call, because she doesn't know how to navigate and communicate differently when she feels wrong. It's boom. It's like I'm coming out with haymakers as opposed to communicating effectively.
Do you know what's crazy? As I feel like a really strong person, right? And I'm always willing to like defend other people and always willing to like defend my point, especially when we're having a conversation like this. But on vacation, I don't know if I would have been comfortable like making it hot like that. I think I would have been seething, but I think I would have tried to shut the conversation down and had a really bad night for the rest of the night. I don't think I would have been able to shake that conversation, because I think I would have made myself even more mad because I didn't say anything. But I think that I don't know. There's like a good and bad, because I think that she was cornered. He put her in a position, Andrew's brother, to have to fight, essentially. Like, he put her in a position to have to choose between, am I going to fight and am I going to stand my ground and like speak what I say? Am I going to defend how I defended myself and why that was necessary? Or am I going to not participate in messing up the vacation, even though he messed it up by what he did? He messed up the moment, but it's not going to look like that. It's going to look like my black ass messed it up.
I'm in a bikini. I'm in water. I'm sipping a margarita.
Right.
I don't want to explain to you racism.
Right. I would have just
had my drink, like, so I understand, like, yo, F you, I'm out of here. Like,
right. But I'm not mad at her for not, she doesn't operate like that. And
yeah, like, it's a lot of people were saying on the timeline, well, you should have communicated in a certain, like, yo, not right now. Not right now. Not right now. I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to chill. You dismissing me, like, and as black people, sometimes we're tired of having to do that.
That's how it feels so much. In so many instances where I don't say something, I'm usually like, if it's not a situation professionally, where there are a lot of rooms where we're not allowed to, and you know better, you know that it's going to backfire. If it's just like, sometimes like I'm just tired, but it will ruin my night. Like if I'm at dinner and there's somebody I don't know at the table and a conversation like this starts, I don't want to participate. I want to eat dinner, but I don't want to eat dinner in this again.
But then you get mad that you didn't address it.
You get mad that you didn't address it. You feel like you made the situation worse because you didn't address it. But like,
because it's almost like you got to question your own blackness. Like that's the messed up part situation that we're put in. Like, we got to address everything, and if we don't, then we're looking at ourselves like, did I not hold up my blackness? Like, it's tough and annoying.
It sucks.
You have to live like that.
Yeah, it sucks. And so I want to, I don't know, with seeing that, I get how everybody, like the brother-in-law, and his wife, I can't think of his name. I don't know why. But because I was saying his name, talking to a friend the other day, but he's going to take away from that. I think just like the typical takeaway from that is, oh, like the black woman got an attitude. I was just trying to talk. What? But it was saying really awful things that mean deeper things. And like I said, we already addressed it. I believe Molly also said really awful things, trying to defend herself when she got flustered, which I don't think is excusable for me personally. But I think the overall argument, just because of how like black women are perceived and how they're talked about, and for black men, it's a whole different thing. Like, he may have been actually scared of you if you talked in a really calm voice and said, no, I don't think that's fair. Like, no, you know what I mean? But what I really think about the whole situation in the pool is that Molly should have never been put in the position to have to defend how she reacted to a blatant microaggression, period. She should have never been put in that position. And I wish that instead of so often us being placed in these positions to where we have to decide really quick in that moment, do I defend myself? Do I explain what happened? Do I get in an argument? Or do I just shut up and drink my drink because I don't want to do this right now? And I know how it's going to be perceived. I wish instead of us so often being put in those type of situations, that the situation would be like, man, I don't really understand that, but we're on vacation. She shouldn't have to explain this. She shouldn't have to defend herself. What if I'm wrong? I wish that conversation happened within the person who decided this was a point to talk about how I don't believe you when you say you just experienced racism.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I wish she wasn't ever put in that position, because it's not fair that, like, we're now judging her reaction to something that was really crappy,
Mhm.
that should have never been said to her.
And again, like I said before, I think why I thought the episode was so good is Molly in a nutshell. I think most of the time, her dealings, whether it's with the assistant, whether it's with the brother, whether it's with Issa, she's right on principle, wrong on reaction. And because she reacts the way she does, we look at her as the one who's wrong, as opposed to the original situation, the original principle. And that's why eventually it's, maybe you should call your therapist. There's an inner anger in her where she's unable to calmly address being wrong. So she goes 0 to 10. She doesn't know 0 to 5. She doesn't know 0 to 7. She only knows 0 to 10. And that's going to ruin relationships for you. It's going to ruin friendships. It's going to ruin, your relationship with your assistant, your relationship with your man. And so that's what she needs to learn, how to address. Because I guarantee if she had addressed being wronged in general in life differently, people would, especially fans, would love her, and most of us will look at her as right in most of the drama she's in.
Isn't that kind of what Andrew's brother was saying to her? That of course I deal with it, but I don't let it get to me.
Yes.
The reaction is completely deserving.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes
like the way she reacted to the lady with the towel, I thought was perfectly fine. She was calm. She snatched the towel a little bit, but like she didn't cuss anybody out. She wasn't yelling.
Yeah, but the problem with the brother was he wasn't just like, yo, you overreacted or yada yada yada. He was like, well, she could have gotten in trouble with the manager, and maybe she wasn't actually being racist. Because he was like, you really think it was racism?
Right. It was.
Yeah, shut up.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So
you're completely right, and you're also right that she is right to have a feeling, but oftentimes her reaction is out of line, and we do have to take responsibility for how we react to things.
Yes, we do.
Telling her not to react and not to address things. It's just sometimes your reaction is disproportionate to. I'm never judging anybody's reaction to racism. That's off the table. But her reaction to her dad, her reaction to her boyfriend, her reaction to her friends sometimes, her reaction to her assistant. Is a little.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're right, but react with the assistants. Be stern, but don't be a jerk.
Right? Can you tell me I'm wrong and still love me? Damn.
Exactly. Issa, you were wrong for, in my opinion, for going behind my back, but let's address it in a calm situation later. Like, come on, like, you just have to address things differently.
Can we go back to that episode, the wrong thing? Because I just want to say something. Because Molly was right. Issa was wrong. What I think gets confusing is that any person on both sides of that situation would have acted the same way both of them did. So sometimes in life, we do things, instead of asking permission, we ask for forgiveness. And I can't see anybody who can look me in my face and say, if they were Issa, they wouldn't have knowingly done what was crappy to Molly and gone around her and saved their event.
Yes. I mean, my beef with Issa is
it's wrong. It was wrong, but I think everybody would have done it in that situation. I also think Molly was right that it was raggedy.
But do you recognize that what you did was wrong? I think Issa a lot of times does shady things, but never recognizes that it was shady. She acts like it was all good.
Right. And you know what? We didn't get to see like the whole conversation with Nathan, because also a surprise in this episode was that Issa has spent some time with Nathan at his house. He's in Andrew's house. So I guess we'll get into that later. But it would have been nice if in that moment where she was like, do you think I used you? That she also was like, man, I shouldn't have asked you. Like, you know what I mean? That like to hear her reflect on how it was wrong. I get it.
She doesn't feel she was wrong.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of my beef with Issa. Like
That's a struggle though.
Feels like she's wrong.
Like in that, if you were Issa in that situation, you would have done the same thing, right?
Yeah, you had to save your career. Like I understand. I get
but
it.
You would have acknowledged going in that it was wrong.
Like, yeah, I would have been like, yeah, I'm doing something that I probably shouldn't have done, but I did it.
But then how do you rectify being wrong knowing that you do it again?
By at least admitting you were wrong. Yo, I was dead wrong. I was desperate.
Okay, I respect that. Yeah. No, I respect that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect that.
And then also I want to say when they said Nathan was over there, and then
Issa was over at Nathan's house.
Yeah, she heard, and Andrew was kind of like, when they had the discussion about Nathan, oh, he was going through some mental things, but he didn't. I'm not gonna involve me. And she was like, oh, I would just like to point out that, and maybe I'm wrong, because you might tell me I'm wrong about this, but
let's say it.
A lot of people were saying, see, if Molly would have let Nathan talk to Issa and yada, yada, yada. I was like, yo, check this out, fam. My job as a friend is to make sure my friend is good, to make sure my friend's mental is good. So I understand he was going through things, but I would do the same thing still. Like, listen, yo, you are messing up my friend's mental health. You are ghosting her. You are treating her poorly. Like, I would protect her also. I don't feel like, because we know this new information, that Molly was wrong in any way by making sure, hey, this guy doesn't come back and potentially destroy her birthday.
No, oh my God, Molly was so wrong. Listen, you're my friend, you're not my mom. I'm a grown woman. And also, most friends who do those things, let me tell you, if you look back, if you've had a situation where a friend overstepped their boundaries trying to protect you, most of the time, those are the friends who don't have their own stuff together relationship-wise. If you are my friend, your job is to support me. Your job is to, and I don't want yes men friends, you know what I mean? But I also don't need you acting like my mother. I need you to act like my friend. And so you were never supposed to go to somebody I'm dealing with and tell them to not talk to me. What? You're not my mother. I'm not a child.
But I don't believe. Did she go to him, or did they run?
Yeah,
or did he run into her?
Apartment, and she told him to leave.
Or did he run in? He came over, right?
They were coming over at the same time, and
they bumped into each other. I'm just saying.
No, that was out of line. Completely out of line.
Nah. Yo,
no, don't live your life don't live my life for me. You don't, because anybody could have also gone up to Dro and said, this is ridiculous, what you and Molly are doing. But Molly would have lost her mind because it's not Issa's place.
It would have been the right thing to do.
No, it would not have been the right thing to do. You also have to mind your business. Like, we can't always like go around inserting ourselves, like actually taking action in other people's lives because we think it's the right thing to do.
No, if I bump into you, I'm gonna tell you ain't ish.
Right. That and I'm okay with that. But you
ain't ish. Leave my friend alone. It is what it is.
No, leave my friend alone is not. It's too much. You can't tell me.
It is. I'm not gonna delete your number or tell you to never see her or try to contact. But I'm like, yo, bounce. You suck.
Yeah, she could have told him that.
My friend, I'm gonna say you
too much.
Stop messing with my friend like this. It is what it is.
I don't know. We always do this. We want to disagree about old episodes, but
I'm just saying. So at the end, Lawrence.
Oh wait, what do you think about like back at the hotel room? Andrew let Molly sleep in. He said he talked to his brother. They obviously it didn't seem like they met back up, or at least we didn't see it. Maybe they did. We didn't see it though. Before they got on the plane. He seems like everything is okay, but I don't know. Do you think everything's okay?
I mean, no. Like there's beef there, but he clearly has no intent on like.
He cares about Molly.
Leaving Molly. He cares about Molly. They're gonna stay in a relationship, and it's just gonna have to be dealt with later, apparently.
Yeah. Okay, then go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, what did you think about seeing Lawrence? First of all, it's funny that Molly and Lawrence are so awkward.
They're so awkward. Oh my God.
They're so awkward to each other.
Like they've known each other for like 6 years. It's really weird.
But they have just awkward encounters. But
yeah,
I get it because it's just like you're my friend's ex. Do I even do I?
And I know way more
How do
about
I treat you?
It's really awkward.
Yeah, but Lawrence making that call at the end.
Who did he call?
I mean, I think what we saw from the preview that he's.
I didn't watch the preview yet. Should I? Just tell me. I'm gonna watch it.
Apparently, he might be having drinks with Issa.
Okay.
So, I assume that was the call. So
I am so overwhelmed by Issa and all her raggedy exes popping back up at once. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
So it's gonna be Lawrence versus Nathan.
I mean, we may as well see if Daniel's busy. You know.
Hey man,
The party now. The party 40 left.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, I don't think Nathan's right. I think Lawrence is the guy. But I don't think Lawrence should be with her either.
Wait, last week you were a team. Like, I want them to get back together.
I think there's so much in a mess, and I think Lawrence is heading in the right direction. That it might just
went back to Nathan, and now you think she garbage. That's what happened.
I've been thinking Issa was garbage though. You know that. Like, I think Issa doesn't get enough smoke in general. I think almost everybody, the only woman on that show that's not garbage is Kelly. And low-key, I know she's not coming back, but Tasha was probably the best woman on the entire show. She didn't display any bad behavior, at least from what I saw. So
no, I agree.
But I think Lawrence is in a good place, so he's finally in a place to be in a great relationship. And he's coming from San Francisco. He's a tech guy, so he was probably coming from some job stuff.
Yo, Tasha is genuine, okay? Because Tasha is genuine. I'm not saying like all women care about men's bank accounts. That's not what I'm saying, right? But it's not a shocker if a woman sees your negative bank account every 2 weeks that she's like, well, maybe.
Well, that's a woman who's dealt with a lot of terrible individuals. But so that means
she looked at his negative bank account often, and she was like, he still deserves a chance. And he's a human being. He does still deserve a chance. But I think she gets extra points for that.
But that's because, again, she saw a man trying that seemed to be a good guy.
Yeah.
If you've been a woman or a man who's been dogged out, yo, I don't care about this bank account. I see you trying. That's all that matters. I'll take a good person instead of these other people who may have more money, but that don't try and are bad people. So that's what she said. I remember when she meant, like, yo, you're trying. Good job. Like,
that's it.
We talking about Sunday in episode like 2. Like,
spicy episode. Woo.
Yeah,
I'm sweating.
I think it's gonna be Nathan versus Lawrence. Who does Issa pick?
Do you think that
shout out to Molly real quick for calling her therapist.
Boom. Most important part of the whole episode, I think, like, recognizing that, like, I'm spiraling a little bit.
Yeah. She's recognizing, like, yo, the anger is out of control. She recognizes.
And Molly stays putting her therapist through it. Let me tell you.
Huh?
Molly puts her therapist through it.
Well, she hasn't talked to a therapist in a long time.
Right. Exactly. And when she's there, it's not really a conversation.
Yeah. I mean, she's
very, like, hostile.
That's what I respect, that she's like, okay. Because like you said, she was wrong in a lot of ways for how she talked to Andrew and her brother and the sister-in-law.
I think that's why you don't get mad and say homophobic things. You don't get mad and say anti-Asian things. You don't get mad and say anti-Black things. You don't get mad and say racist things. You don't get mad and say sexist things, because those things are bad. They can never be your defense. And also, what happened in that moment is that she was having a discussion with one person and shot everybody. The sister-in-law who was agreeing with her, in her facial expressions and how they were, like, centering those were really hilarious. And also Andrew, like, two people who were, Andrew was also, like, actively trying to calm it down. I think her sister-in-law was in a really weird predicament. It's not her sister-in-law, Andrew's sister-in-law. Mm-hmm. And Molly said really offensive things to them also, unnecessarily. That's why I think that you can't say certain things. If they're bad, man.
Yeah, again, I agree that she said some bad things. There's some things within there that I disagree with you about, but her recognition of it, was huge in her character development.
Yeah.
And being able to say, all right, you know, I'm in a bad place. I have anger issues that keep coming out throughout the episode.